Welcome in. Wednesday afternoon, players' day off for the 49ers, but they're already in Colorado Springs. The practices over the next 3 days at the Air Force Academy will be conducted at an elevation of about 6,600 feet. And then the 49ers, after practicing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, will fly to Mexico City, elevation about 7,500. That's 7,500 feet on Sunday for Monday Night Football at Estadio Azteca, Monday night. And then the 49ers fly back straight to the Bay Area after that. So altitude adjustment underway. There's less oxygen the higher up you go. You got to develop some of those red blood cells. So the 49ers going early into altitude. Interestingly, the Arizona Cardinals are not doing that. They used to go up to Flagstaff, somewhere in the high desert in Arizona for situations like these, but the Cardinals will not be doing that this year. We will see if the 49ers develop a scientific advantage for this game. I do know that in 2017, the Raiders and the Patriots went there. The Raiders didn't do any altitude prep whatsoever, and the Patriots just came out, ran no huddle, and gassed the Raiders bad. I mean, the Raiders were sucking wind very early in that game. But there is other data that suggests that you have to be up at altitude for at least 2 weeks for it to make a tangible difference. The 49ers, though, Ben Peterson, their sports science guy, recommended to Kyle Shanahan that the 49ers do the Springs, Colorado Springs, this week, and that's where they are. So today, though, on this video, on the Players Off Day, we're talking about the areas of improvement that the 49ers offense can tackle. What's fact, what's fiction? Because there certainly is a lot of crap flying around out there about the 49ers offense. Most of it that you see on social media, let me break it to you, is not true. There is a lot of nuance to any discussion about the 49ers offense. And quite frankly, they're a whole heck of a lot better than your average Twitter user or YouTuber would lead you to believe. Facts about the 49ers offense before we get into this. I've mentioned this several times over the past week or so, but it's worth repeating because every single week just sets this a little bit firmer into stone. Jimmy Garoppolo this year is a top 3 DVOA quarterback. The 49ers passing offense ever since Garoppolo took over is ranked number 3 in football in the defense adjusted value over average from Football Outsiders. The rushing offense is ranked number 20 since Garoppolo took over, but since Christian McCaffrey showed up in week 8, the 49ers are at number 10 rushing offense. Number 2 pass, number 10 run. So this offense efficiency-wise is on track to doing what the 49ers needed to do. Points-wise is where the issue lies. So when we talk about 2 definite areas of improvement for the 49ers, improvement 1 is red zone efficiency. Since the 49ers have been efficient in between the 20s, even in between the 10s, we have to zero in on where the problem actually is. And this is not a situation where it's like, oh my God, this offense sucks. They're not utilizing the talent at all. They're inept. They're not moving the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo's terrible. It's the opposite of that. They're number 1 DVOA, number 1 efficiency ever since Christian McCaffrey showed up in week 8. So they're obviously doing something right. That's a small sample, but you still have to acknowledge that it means something, right? So they're doing something right. The efficiency numbers tell us that they are at the top of the league level. But what they're not doing right is finishing drives. They need to do a better job finishing drives. And that's what I wrote about on The Athletic in this article that came out this morning. Improvement number 1, there are 2, as I said. We're going to talk about number 1 first. Improvement number 1 is red zone efficiency. And that is the article that's up on your screen. It is in the description right now. And I will send you the link into the chat section. Go ahead, check that out. Subscribe to The Athletic. I will be going through some charts here, including the one that is in the article as we discuss what the 49ers can do better to make this improvement in red zone efficiency. As I said, it's about finishing drives. So how about some more George Kittle in the end zone? I believe that the strongest potential weapon in close quarters, and obviously everything is constricted in the red zone, the strongest potential weapon is a versatile one that can be deployed as both a weapon in the run game and in the receiving game. And there's nobody that fits that bill better, in my opinion, in the red zone, in the very physical close quarters of the red zone, than a tight end like George Kittle. Because you could line him up with his hand in the dirt, his feet also in the dirt unless he's floating up above the ground at the snap. But you could line George Kittle up with his hand in the dirt at the 2-yard line, and the defense is not sure if he's going to be trying to road grade somebody and then laugh about it as he's doing it, just like he did against the Falcons a couple years ago, or if he's going to spring out for a pass pattern, or if he's going to do a little bit of both on one play. If he's going to line up and the 49ers are going to run the play fake. And it's extremely hard to cover that, and the 49ers need to take advantage of that adaptability more in the red zone. So I think that George Kittle is the first weapon that the 49ers should think about integrating more. Why don't we take a look at how exactly the 49ers are doing in terms of red zone efficiency this year, just so we lay the parameters out clearly. This is it. 49ers red zone efficiency with Kyle Shanahan year to year. Red is bad. Blue is good. You want to be darker in the blue. You want to be lighter in the red if you're already going to be in the red. As you see, they started off the Shanahan era as a very bad red zone team. 2017, this is touchdown rate, by the way. They ranked number 27, a 47% touchdown rate. 2018, the 49ers were atrocious. Worst red zone team in the league, 41.2% touchdown rate. Got better in 2019, but they were still below average that year. They went all the way to the Super Bowl with a below average red zone touchdown rate, but it still shot up 14 points from 2018. 55.6%, that ranked number 20. By 2020, Shanahan finally, it seemed, had really gotten the red zone system down, even with quarterback upheaval, Jimmy Garoppolo and those high ankle sprains. We saw Nick Mullins. I think we saw some CJ Beathard in 2020. 49ers scored touchdowns in the red zone, 67.3%. They ranked number 7. And then they got essentially a full year of Garoppolo in 2021, minus a couple games, right? And they were one of the best red zone teams in the league, 64.4%. 49ers ranked number 4. Remember, they started last season out over 80%. That was like a historic pace for a while. Well, now you see what happened this year. There's been a drop off from the 64.4% to about 55%. From number 4 to number 16, roughly 9 or 10 points lower on the 49ers red zone scales this year as far as touchdown percentage. If you want to look at it more anecdotally, in this past game against the Chargers, the 49ers crossed the 10-yard line 5 times, and they scored only 2 touchdowns. Why did they score only 2? Well, Brandon Aiyuk dropped the perfect pass after a perfect route that he ran, but it was a perfect pass from Jimmy Garoppolo. That would have made the 49ers 3 for 5 if he had caught it. Kyle Shanahan was intentionally conservative the last time. Maybe Kyle Shanahan can go for a few more of these 4th downs in the red zone, because it seems that he doesn't optimize, at least based on the analytics, he doesn't optimize the expected points in the red zone on 4th down decisions. So that could have been another one where the 49ers up their percentage. And then the 49ers, to me, were oddly conservative when it came to calling run versus pass on their first trip into the red zone. It was a Deebo Samuel run first up the middle. He didn't score. He got down to the 2, and then Christian McCaffrey got stuffed. That 3rd and goal at the very start of the game, 49ers first drive, that's a spot where I think you could use George Kittle. That's a spot where I think you have to use George Kittle and Jimmy Garoppolo. Because this season, as I said, the 49ers are more efficient passing the ball than they are running the ball. Again, the DVOA doesn't lie. The efficiency discrepancy has been unprecedented for Kyle Shanahan. In the past, we've talked about the 49ers being an evenly balanced team, and that's obviously where they want to return this year. And hey, over the past 3 weeks, number 2 pass, number 10 run, you're in the top 10 in both. That's trending in the right direction. But over the course of the whole season under Garoppolo, number 3 pass, number 20 run, I don't know, it's a little bit too big of a gap. But still, it's a changing reality, right? You are better in pass protection. Jimmy Garoppolo's healthy. He's playing well. And you've got weapons that can really accentuate the good quarterback and good pass and good pass protection by spreading the field, and then obviously making some catches in the end zone. Well, we're going to treat the Brandon Aiyuk drop as a fluke, and I think the data supports that it was. When the run blocking is a little bit worse, as it has been this year because of a lot of turnover up front, the run game's not going to be as efficient, not going to be as strong. So perhaps the 49ers should be out there, not just in the red zone, but perhaps they should be out there offensively trying to pass more on all downs, on the aggregate. Take a look at this right here. This is from Ben Baldwin, who's got a lot of cool data, but this is early down pass rate over expectation. 49ers are down here. You can see my cursor. This is basically the analytics will give you an expected pass rate on early downs, first and second down. And then each team here is plotted based on if they pass less than expected or more than expected. The 49ers pass 5% less than expected based on down distance, game situation, what that dictates. The Chicago Bears with Justin Fields pass way less than their expected number. So do the Falcons with Marcus Mariota. So do the Titans with Ryan Tannehill when Tannehill is not hurt. The New York Giants, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, the Browns. Cowboys, I know they had a backup quarterback in there for a while. They're right where the 49ers are. Surprisingly, maybe, so are the Packers. Packers with Aaron Rodgers are negative 5%. So all these teams are running more than expected on first and second down. You go up here to see the teams that are passing more than expected. Kansas City, Buffalo, the Cincinnati Bengals, San Diego. As you guys know, I don't call them the LA Chargers. I call them the San Diego Chargers. Brady and the Bucks, Geno Smith and the Seahawks, the Eagles. A lot of good football teams doing a lot of throwing the ball on early downs. But the 49ers doing less of it. Well, what's the problem there, you ask? Well, I'll illustrate the problem here. We could go to what the 49ers efficiency profile looked like in their most recent game. This is against the Chargers. Look at this right here. Early downs, first and second. Purple is bad, green is good in this. Early down efficiency for the 49ers was purple. They were negative efficiency on early downs. They weren't doing well on those early downs. Late downs, they were doing great. Exemplary, in fact, adding a point of expected value nearly every late down, which is third or fourth down. Well, what does that mean? That means that the 49ers weren't doing much on first and second down. And they were relying on Jimmy Garoppolo and the passing attack, Jawan Jennings, all those guys, to bail them out on third down. That was the gist of it. That was absolutely the gist of it if you looked at what happened for the 49ers against the Chargers. So, what do you make of it? I think you look at this, that the 49ers have been more efficient passing than running this season. And you take something like this, put it back up on the screen, and you say that the 49ers have to move closer to the top here. They have to embrace their personnel strengths this year, and their personal strengths are different than they were in the past. Now, I'm not advocating for a full change of philosophy from Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. I understand that this team likes to run the ball. I understand that they're improving as far as the run game goes. That's why they acquired Christian McCaffrey, at least part of the reason. He's also a weapon in the pass game. I understand that Elijah Mitchell's return probably will allow Kyle Shanahan to get a lot closer to what he wants to do. But the changing reality is that the 49ers offensive line is a better pass blocking unit this year than it ever has been. And the changing reality also has happened at the quarterback position, where Jimmy Garoppolo he's healthy, but I think the dynamics of what happened this offseason with him not practicing with the team, with him playing with a little less to lose this year, right? We covered this in week 2. We covered this after the Seattle game when he talked about the need to air it out a little bit more. Jimmy Garoppolo's putting some of his own signature on the football that we're seeing. Take a look at the off-schedule play that he threw to Ray McCloud. That looked a lot like something he would have done in 2017. And with that touch, there has been a new dynamic to this 49ers offense that is not just the shackled Kyle Shanahan, we have to run and only operate within this prescribed set of short passing plays that we've seen in years prior. The 49ers have a little bit more ceiling offensively. I think it's really clear over the course of the first part of this season. And the data definitely illustrates that. That's why this team has been number one offense DVOA since they got Christian McCaffrey. They have the weapons to have that kind of efficiency ceiling. But the points now need to match the efficiency. They need to translate what they're doing in between the 20s, what they're doing on third down after that great game on third down against the Chargers, and they need to apply it across the board to make these performances more sustainable. And if you're talking about across the board, improvement number one is red zone efficiency, and improvement number two is first and second down efficiency. Those are the two areas that you have to fix if you're the 49ers offense. Those will make the going more sustainable. Those will allow you to bridge that efficiency gap. That's what I talked about in this piece. I called it an efficiency gap that you build a bridge over. And also, I called it a red zone puzzle. Can the 49ers solve the red zone puzzle? Those are the keys. And the 49ers, I think, absolutely are in position to fix them. They've shown progress toward that over the past couple of weeks. And I think it's so important to contextualize this and put it into reasonable terms, because everybody's really extreme about this, right? People either think the offense is great or it's broken. Nobody kind of says, hey, it might just be a play here and a play there, and the 49ers are rolling. Let's take a look at some questions here and make sure that you do subscribe to this article. Yeah, let's go here. Yeah, man, a lot of people pay attention. We are setting record viewership with every single show, to answer your question. Who's the weakest link in pass protection? I would say the lowest rank right now is probably Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. I did my bye week evaluation, and relative to his peers, so relative to other tackles, Mike McGlinchey ranks the lowest. He's 43 out of about 60 qualifying tackles. Burford and Banks have actually not given up a sack, and Jake Brendel's actually also ranked in the top half of centers in terms of pass protection. I was recently watching some old 49ers games, and although I think Greg Papa's calls are pretty good, I really miss hearing Lon Simmons, Joe Starkey, and Ted Robinson call games, says Gopher Baroque. Greg is awesome. He was just on his radio show today. We're going to watch some football on Sunday night in Mexico City. I can't wait for that. Everybody's got his own style. Personally, out of the old announcers, the guys who are no longer doing it anymore, I always really liked Lon Simmons. I appreciated how he would lose it a little bit on his calls. I thought Greg does the same thing these days. He loses it a bit on his calls. There's some real emotion coming through the calls, and sports are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be about the emotion. I don't like when a play-by-play guy is too polished and there's no emotion, because your job, to me, is to convey the feeling of the fan base, the feeling of what's going on in the stadium, especially as the team's radio announcer, right? So I get it on the national level. Maybe you do a little bit less of that. On a national level, I actually do like Joe Buck, and I get it. He doesn't show much emotion at all, but he is a master at letting the emotion breathe. A lot of people don't like Joe Buck, but I think he does a great job because he could sit back, and it is a skill in play-by-play. I do play-by-play as well. I want to do more of it. But I kind of study this stuff. It is a skill to be able to sit back and let the atmosphere breathe. Now, you can only do that for really big games. You can't show up to a high school football game with 26 people in attendance and let the crowd breathe. It's going to sound terrible. But when you're in a rocking stadium, 75,000 people, and there's a big moment, a lot of inexperienced announcers will just want to keep on talking, especially on TV. But even on radio, sometimes it's a good idea to let that atmosphere breathe. Let that crowd tell the story on its own. Lon Simmons was indeed great. That deserves all caps. Yep. Listen to the radio call when Steve Young had that long TD run against Minnesota. It was so cool. Maybe I could find something cool for you guys because I wrote about this. Let me find it. Steve Young Vikings run. Maybe we could find that video in there too. Yeah, here it is. 30 in 2018 was the 30th anniversary. One of the most fun articles I got to write. And I could put it up on the screen. There it is. 30 years later, remembering Steve Young's iconic Vikings run. Astonishing Vikings run. Let's not sell ourselves short here. An iconic part of 49ers lore. All right, you guys ready for this? We'll play it.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He dies. Touchdown, 49ers.
All right. That was cool. Lon Simmons, it's always great to hear his voice. That was awesome. Speaking of that, that was in the 88 season. 49ers were struggling that year. In a lot of ways, it was like 2021. They had to climb out of a little bit of a hole. Even 2022, there has been a little bit of a hole that the 49ers had to climb out of, but they hit their stride down the stretch. And the Vikings were never the same again. Until they showed up in Buffalo last week and got Josh Allen to fumble on a quarterback sneak. Justin Jefferson is something else, though, for the Vikings. Owens. He caught it. Well, I have another treat for you. I don't know if we're going to play that one today, but we will go to the piece here. The best part of my job with Athletic has been writing these historical feature stories on moments that I grew up watching. And I got to write, this is several thousand words on 49ers Packers of the 1990s, talking to Steve Young about it. This was a family fight. Steve Young's throw and Terrell Owens' catch added a deeply personal 49ers Packers rivalry. And then, of course, the sequel to this was the big piece on the Cowboys rivalry, which actually predated it. It was first 49ers Cowboys, then 49ers Packers, but the 49ers Cowboys piece was a bigger undertaking, so I wrote it a little bit later. What is my opinion on Deebo Samuel's play so far this season? This is actually a good one, and since you asked it, Mike, I'm going to use a graphic that you sent me. I just have to download it here and put it up on the screen, so give me a second. Here we go. Is it there? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. This was like a cool receiver tracking. Let me take off all these text titles that we have up here. Cool little receiver tracking plot graph. ESPN Analytics and Next Gen Stats. I saw another one the other day. Some here. Yeah, we're finding it here. So they have the open score and they have the catch score. Catch score is on the y-axis. The open score is on the x-axis. You want to be further up and to the right. Brandon Aiyuk is right here in a pretty good spot. Good open field score. Decent catch score. Not great, but a little bit of above average. Deebo Samuel, meanwhile, not ranking out too well this year. I've long said that Brandon Aiyuk is the 49ers' best pure receiver, best man-beating receiver. He's the guy that you'll put at that X position and rely on to beat opposing defenses. But Deebo Samuel's value, I don't think, is fully quantified by purely receiving metrics because he's obviously a multifaceted weapon. He's obviously lined up in the backfield. You're looking at him for a lot of yak. It's a positionless skill position kind of thing. So when you see these charts online, okay, let's plot all these receivers and see how good they actually are. And you have Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, all the usual suspects in the top right. When you see charts like this online, Brandon Aiyuk is typically going to be in a better spot than Deebo Samuel for that reason. Then Deebo, he's a tougher player to quantify. That being said, the 49ers do want to see him do more damage than he has been doing. And that's another thing that goes back to improving first and second down efficiency. This is a criticism I had for the 49ers during the game on Sunday. They got behind the chains a lot, right? That's why they faced 17 third downs. But they had this one third down where it was 3rd and 20. And then it was 3rd and 20, and they decided to throw the little screen to Deebo Samuel. He picked up 16 or 17 yards, looked really good on the play. But why are you waiting until 3rd and 20 to run that? Sneak a few more in earlier in the game instead of first down passes. One of the biggest plays of the game, one of the most effective ones, was a first down swing pass to Christian McCaffrey. It was the first play of the second half. Opened up 6 or 7 straight effective 49ers runs. So, improving first or second down efficiency, I think, starts with passing a little bit more. And you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to start airing it out 50 yards downfield. I think it's a matter of stretching the defense out horizontally, working the lateral sideline angles, right? And Deebo Samuel is somebody that's very good at that. And so is Christian McCaffrey. And hey, maybe it starts this very next game. Probably going to be a lot of focus on Christian McCaffrey, right? Going toward the sidelines because he did make a couple big catches to loosen up the run game the last time out. So maybe now Deebo Samuel is going to have a little bit more room moving forward. Marvin Ross. In 84, the 49ers lost one game. That was to the Steelers. Steelers came in and ran the ball, kept that on Montana's hands. It worked that day, the only day. Yep, they only lost one that year. Beat the Dolphins and Dan Marino. It's kind of like the Falcons were able to just run the ball, keep it away from the 49ers a few weeks ago. That was a depleted 49ers defense, though, that week. As the season progresses, it seems like the coaches are identifying their weaknesses and making corrections. I see some really good team improvements. Special teams, less penalties, more catches. That's a good point. We were talking about so many 49ers penalties earlier this year. They have cut down on those. Special teams has gone a lot better. Ray McLeod looked terrible for a few weeks. He's looked really good, even on special teams. The kick returns, the punt returns, everything looks better. They're downing kicks inside the 5. All impressive stuff. All turnarounds for the 49ers. Their special teams unit, that's actually a good thing to look up right now. Let's see where their special teams ranks here over the past couple weeks on Football Outsiders. Because their special teams was down at number 26 a few weeks ago, which was where it was last year, which isn't good enough. And I'm very curious to see where it is right now. 21 right now for the 49ers special teams. So they've moved up 5 spots in about a couple weeks, which means they've been somewhere either middle of the pack or right around number 10. And if they could sustain that, then special teams is not going to screw them over. You just can't be in the 20s, in my opinion. I think that it's important to just hold serve there, especially if the rest of your team is good. Be number 1, or you don't have to be number 1 or 2, but if you're in the top 5 offensively and defensively, then holding serve is going to be enough on special teams. All right, any more questions? Again, Ro, this piece right here, that's the one that we're talking about primarily today. Pop it open on the screen. 49ers solving red zone efficiency issues. Going to put this one back into the comment section for you right now. Offensive line will need depth next season. They always need depth. That's why guys like McKivitz, Nick Zakel, they're working on him right now. It's important to always be developing that pipeline. But the good news for the 49ers is that a lot of what the success they're seeing now is part of a developed pipeline. Aaron Banks, Daniel Brunskill, Spencer Burford, a new addition to the pipeline. Jake Brendel, added him a little while back, and now he's starting and playing a good center position, especially in pass protection for the 49ers. There is a big question at right tackle next season for the 49ers, absolutely. Mike McGlinchey no longer under contract after 2022. 49ers don't like to do too much hurry up because they like to control the football. They love those 37 to 40 minutes of possession so the defense can be rested, scheme up some adjustments, and get after opposing teams. The 49ers are so D-line rooted that, and the D-line, those guys are the ones that need the most oxygen, especially if they're shorthanded on the D-line like they were this last game, missing 3 guys. They want those guys to have as much rest as possible. So if you're just out there hurrying up on offense, well, that defense is going to have to come back out there. 49ers just want to control game flow. And hey, occasionally they will run hurry up if they need to mix something up, maybe take advantage of altitude to make the Cardinals suck some wind this week. But in general, they love to win that possession battle so that their D-line can dig in, pin their ears back, and rush the passer. Do you think with all the offensive weapons the 49ers have with Kyle Shanahan is in it to win it all or bust, move on from the... Are you saying that the 49ers, they don't win it all, they won't keep Kyle Shanahan? I'm not sure what the question here is, but I do think the 49ers are always trying to win it all. Ever since 2019, ever since they built up this foundation, they're going for it every year. They're trying to give themselves the best shot within a reasonable calculus that keeps them sustainable over the long term. They don't want to flame out like the Rams have this year. Obviously, something wasn't sustainable about the Rams structure. They got their ring last year, but the 49ers are trying to have a shot at a ring every year, and they're trying to make that sustainable. There were a couple drives that were really long against the Chargers last week. Really long drives. And that's the thing. If you have a really long drive like that, then it's going to give you a lot of benefits. But to really enjoy the full breadth of them, you have to go out there and you have to finish it with a touchdown. And that's why the red zone rate, touchdown rate, that's why it's so important. That's what the 49ers are right now. Got to improve that red zone efficiency. They're just above average, number 16. Any lower, they'd be below average. They're right in the middle of the pack. Mediocre red zone touchdown efficiency. That's okay. You just got to work on it, get it better moving forward. It's a matter of a play here, play there, a drop here, drop there. 49ers would be probably ranked at least one spot higher, maybe a couple spots higher if Brandon Aiyuk catches that football the other day. So we'll see how the 49ers do with that red zone efficiency moving forward. Yeah, Colt McCoy was able to beat the 49ers ass last year, though. 31-17. 49ers defense was run over by Eno Benjamin, who was just released or waived by the Cardinals this week. Probably because the 49ers no longer have Dre Kirkpatrick. So Arizona was like, we don't need Eno Benjamin anymore. Can't run over Dre Kirkpatrick. Instead, the 49ers have Charvarius Ward, who is the best graded run defender in all of football. Any position. It was just DBs. Now any position. 92 grade on PFF. No missed tackles. Charvarius Ward's been awesome against the run. And you see the problem, and you saw the problem when a corner isn't good against the run last year against the Cardinals when Eno Benjamin ran over Dre Kirkpatrick. But you have to be ready to play regardless of who's the starter for Arizona. They showed you that last year. 49ers offense wasn't bad in that game. Garoppolo, let me put it this way. Garoppolo was good in that game, but Kittle fumbled. They had a couple fumbles downfield that killed drives. They only scored 17, but it wasn't because of bad quarterback play. That was also the game that McGlinchey tore his quad. against the Cardinals last year. Now, the first time they played the Cardinals last year was also a loss. That was Trey Lance's first career start. Remember that game well also. Hopefully the 49ers will take care of business against Arizona. That'll sweeten the Hard Knocks coverage for sure. Some of the clips coming out of Arizona have been, ooh, boy, what's going on down there? I don't think that Armstead or Kinlaw play in the high altitude this week, no. My prediction for Armstead's return is week 13. My prediction for Kinlaw's return is week 12. Put it that way. Maybe both week 13. You might not have to push it for the 49ers are 8.5-point favorites in each of the next 2 weeks. And because of that, this now applies. These are the market-derived team tiers. Based on the next 2 weeks of spreads, what does the betting market think about each team? And you have the top tier, and for the first time, I think all season, the 49ers are in the top tier. Super Bowl or bust, along with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, and then there they are, the 49ers, squeaking in. They were in the other contenders last week. That's filled with the Ravens, Cowboys, Buccaneers, and Bengals. So this is a 2-week stretch in which the 49ers should really be expecting to win both games and move to 7-4 before they host Miami. That's going to be a big one at Levi Stadium. Mike McDaniel coming back. So I don't think that you need to push it with Armstead or Javon Kinlaw here over the next 2 weeks. And this is fair. Yeah, if you can get to the line quick so that the defense can't sub, because substitutions are only allowed if you huddle, then, or I mean, they're allowed at any time, but the defense is not going to try to substitute if you're already back on the line. Then, you know, maybe you could catch him out of position on some personnel packages. Remember, the 49ers are this is an early stage of having all these weapons. McCaffrey just showed up and started playing in week 8. So week 11 is here. Maybe some of the more advanced things the 49ers are going to do offensively start to show up. Or they save him for Mike McDaniel in week 13 since they're 8.5-point favorites over the next 2 weeks. I'm not sure. We'll see. All I know is that it's going to be really, really exciting. Mercenary says, if the 49ers had better deep threats amongst the talent that they have, and if Shanahan would get rid of the leash on Garoppolo, then what? I don't know what you're saying. You're saying the 49ers don't have a speedster or someone to go up and get the ball. George Kittle can go up and get the football. The speedster issue, yeah, I guess that's what they got Danny Gray, and Danny Gray turned his ankle in warm-ups the last game. He's still trying to get acclimated. It'd be nice if the 49ers had a little bit more speed to blow the top off of a defense. But, I mean, Deebo Samuel's gone up and got a football too this year against Kansas City. He had that nice catch. But the 49ers have guys who can make plays downfield, and they have guys that are quick, that can move. It's not like they're devoid of, you know, there's no glaring lack of a weapon here. They may not have track speed on the outside, but that's not the end-all, be-all to having a productive offense. What do you think about running more play action to help get the 49ers stars the ball easier? 49ers currently run play action only 24% of the time. League high is 45%. The low is 15%. Absolutely, but you have to set up play action. And here's more statistics for you. To set up play action, you have to be equal threat from under center, out of the shotgun, equal threat to run, equal threat to pass. That's why balance has been so important to Kyle Shanahan's offense. And right now, the 49ers are under center only 33% of the time. That's the lowest rate of the Shanahan era. They're in the shotgun 66% of the time. They're way more efficient out of the shotgun than they are under center. They're significantly more efficient passing the ball than they are running the ball. All those things are related. And all those things speak to one truth. They have not been balanced in as far as their threats on offense. If they continue to develop more balance, which they have been doing since Christian McCaffrey showed up, the 49ers will be in better position to let Shanahan lock and load with play action. Because play action is effective when the defense isn't sure what's coming out of any given formation. So that is the key. Jordan Willis did look good the other day. Are we sure about this? Jimmy Garoppolo not good at throwing deep? Because let's put it this way. In 2019, when he actually had a chance to throw deep, throws of 20 or more yards in the air, Jimmy Garoppolo led the NFL in completion percentage. I've seen Jimmy Garoppolo make some really, really nice throws downfield this year, including on the move to Ray McLeod the other day. The 49ers schematically don't throw deep all that much, at least in the yak plan that they've had. But that's evolved a little bit. They've taken a few more shots, and he's thrown some nice footballs downfield. So that's one reason why I wanted to make a video like this, is that there's a lot of stereotypes about the 49ers offense. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw deep. Oh, this offense is a disjointed mess. Oh, there's so much wrong with this offense. It's the weakness of the team. A lot of these things just aren't true. The 49ers have the number one offense DVOA since Christian McCaffrey showed up. Sorry, I got to decline a phone call there really quick. But 49ers have the number one offense DVOA since Christian McCaffrey showed up. So yes, the points aren't where they need it to be, although they are at 25.3 points per game since McCaffrey showed up, which would rank number 6 in the league. Essentially one touchdown per drive away, like red zone touchdown per drive away from being at the top of the league in scoring. So they're like a play away from really clicking, yet people say they aren't clicking. It's small stuff like that, right, that the 49ers have to fix. And I don't think there are these massive overarching issues like Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw deep, Jimmy Garoppolo can't make this throw. There isn't data to support that. Those kind of notions are based way more on feelings than they are on facts. This is also true. Defenses are typically ahead at the beginning of the season. Yeah, and I mean, there's been so many. I mean, just put on the tape. There have been so many nice passes from Garoppolo downfield this year. So it's not like it's we enter. You know, I think a lot of people's perceptions on this were colored by 2020 when he was playing on a high ankle sprain and was like 1 of 10 on deeper passes. And that's a really small sample size. B, you know, on passes that travel over 20 yards, the league average is like 40 something percent. So there was so little you could glean from that, but people made a whole narrative about Jimmy Garoppolo based on just that. If there has been an accuracy issue for Jimmy Garoppolo this year coming off the shoulder surgery, it's actually been on the shorter passes. He's been a little bit off on some of those screens. He's been a little high on some of those screens. He's been throwing some dimes, though, downfield. So, again, facts over feelings on a lot of this stuff. Important to emphasize. All right, guys. I don't think I'm going to stay on for too much longer because I want to go on with another live a little bit later, and we've already done this for 45 minutes. So why don't you all go check out this article right here? Can the 49ers solve the red zone puzzle disconnect between high efficiency and low scoring? Check it out. Subscribe to The Athletic. Put this up here on the screen. I'm copying this, going to put it into that comment section one more time. And we're going to have a lot more content coming your way. Can't wait for Mexico City here in a few days. But if you have any requests, put it in the comment section. for a good video. And I'll make some quicker hitters as well. I know some of you like these longer ones. Some of you like the 45-minute video, which is what this one is about to become. All right, everybody, sub to The Athletic. Thank you for joining. And make sure that you sub to this channel as well. Everybody take care. That was a nice 45-minute show. It was fun. Let's do it again soon. Bye now.